And here we go. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Pulse of Ithaca podcast, your local podcast for entertainment in the greater Ithaca, New York area. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sean, your host, and joining me is my ever-knowledgeable co-host, Pete. This week, we'll be discussing some upcoming concerts in Ithaca, and we're honored to interview TJ Schaper, talent buyer for Deep Dive, Lincoln Hill, Farms, Lincoln on Main, The Range, and The Upstairs. Let's get started.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Sean, great to be here with you. TJ, thank you for joining us. We are live today from Deep Dive in downtown Ithaca.
Yes.
On the main stage.
Same, man.
So, good stuff. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off with our local events, as you mentioned.
All right.
And then really looking forward to this interview with TJ.
Yeah, so am I.
Coming up here, so.
All right, Pete. Tell us what's going on in Ithaca in the next few weeks.
All right, so we've got a lot of great music coming up, as always. And we'll be kicking it off here with Deep Dive. We've got Driftwood playing 2 nights, Friday and Saturday, May 10th and 11th. Showtime's at 8 p.m. Really looking forward to that. Band's coming up from Binghamton. I believe they've done 2-night residencies here before.
Okay.
So really looking forward to that show. Also coming up is a show that I'm really excited about that we've been missing for a long time in Ithaca. Reggae Night returns for 1 night only with Crucial Reggae Club with the return of Rochelle. That's happening May 17th, also at Deep Dive. And that's a show that I'm really excited for. Rochelle moved away about a year ago, maybe more.
Okay.
And the Crucial Reggae Social Club has not played since then. Super excited she's back in town, and that's going to be a great night of music. Really looking forward to that.
Sweet.
And those tickets are available along with a lot of other events at www.deepdiveithaca.com.
Nice. Pete, anything coming up at the State Theater that our listeners might be interested in?
Yeah, I was checking out the schedule today. It looks like there's a couple of shows coming up in the next couple of weeks. There's a tribute show, The Ultimate Bee Gees Experience, featuring the New York Bee Gees, hailing out of New York City. This tribute show features top Long Island musicians who have played previously with acts like the Alan Parsons Project and Queen. They've sold out venues like the Paramount Theater, the B.B. King, and NYC. Their spectacular production of Bee Gee hits spanning their career, from early songs like To Love Somebody to disco themes such as Stayin' Alive.
Oh, yeah.
The show delivers powerful vocals and a professional stage presence, appealing to clubs and casinos. Nice to see some theater coming here to the State Theater. Also, another show coming up, Rodrigo y Gabriela. It's happening April 30th at 8 p.m., and they are a Grammy Award-winning guitar duo. They started with a mix of rock, metal, and flamenco influences. After their first band dissolved, they moved to Ireland. They bussed in Dublin, met Damien Rice, leading to an early gig. And they debuted with the 2002 album Refok and have since released 8 more albums, including the Grammy-winning Metavolution in 2022. They're known for their dynamic live performances, and they have played at prestigious venues worldwide, and for notable figures including a 2010 White House event. Their latest album, In Between Thoughts, A New World, blends their guitar work with an orchestra, supporting a global tour in 2023. Tickets are available at stateofithaca.org.
Nice, Pete. What about any under-the-radar events?
Yeah, so there's a couple of events coming up at the Range in the next few weeks. We've got Alex Cano on Friday, May 10th at 9:30 p.m. Tickets are $10 or $5 with a student ID. Doors are at 9:30, shows at 10:30. And you can join us for an unforgettable night of rock and roll with Alex Cano, a touring rock Americana artist from New York's Hudson Valley. He's known for his blend of smooth baritone and powerful rock vocals. Cano's music spans energetic alternative rock to intimate Americana. He's drawn comparisons to Foo Fighters, Led Zeppelin, and Johnny Cash, and his debut album, Every Rise of the Sun, acclaimed for its heartfelt storytelling and authenticity, was supported by a full U.S. tour. Cano has opened for some big acts like Plain White Tees and Gin Blossoms. Also, we've got The Comb Down coming up. They're going to be playing 2 sets. This is an interesting show. They're playing both a happy hour show and a late night show. That's happening Friday, April 26th. The doors are at 5:30, and they're playing a happy hour set, goes from 6:30 to 7:30, and then we have Dirty Gems playing from 7:30 to 11, and then Comb Down is back on at 11 to 1. What a great arrangement of music that night. Really cool that you're getting the Comb Down in there for both the early show and the late show, so the happy hour crowd can check it out, and the late night crowd can also get down. Those tickets are available at www.therangeithaca.com. Really excited for our next guest. Stick with us. In just a few moments, we'll be back with TJ Schaper.
Nice.
All right, listeners, it's that time when Sean and Pete stop talking to each other and start talking to someone way more interesting. And now, without further ado, let's get started.
Yes, welcome back to the Pulse of Ithaca, where we dive deep into the heartbeat of our local music and art scene. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce a very special guest, a good friend, and a key figure in shaping the musical landscape of our community, TJ Schaper. TJ is a talent buyer for several of our local beloved venues, including Lincoln Hill Farms and Deep Dive, as well as the others we mentioned at the top of the show. Beyond his role behind the scenes, TJ is an accomplished trombonist, performing with many bands such as John Brown's Body, Giant Panda Gorilla Dub Squad, and the Comb Down. His musical journey began in high school ska band and continued through his studies at Ithaca College, bridging his passion for both performing and managing in the music industry. His passion and dedication have made him a pivotal part of our culture scene here in Ithaca. So without further ado, let's get into the rhythm of TJ's musical journey and insights. TJ, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, man. You've been one of our biggest supporters, so I just want to take a moment to thank you. Ever since me and Sean started doing this last fall, you were one of the people that reached out to us early and said, thank you guys for doing this. It's something that our community needs, and there's just so much great stuff going on here, and we're privileged to be able to capture it and share it with our listeners. So thank you for your support. We really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So we've got a whole series of questions for you.
Yes, we do.
We're excited to learn some more about you and to learn more about the music industry that you're involved with. But before we get to that, I kind of wanted to just run down this lineup for Lincoln Hill Farms, which I'm really excited about. And I know you only have a handful of dates that have been announced yet. Mm-hmm. You mentioned before we got started that you have more dates coming, but let me just rattle this off real quick. We've got June 12th, Burning Spear with Kabaka Pyramid and Giant Panda Gorilla Dub Squad. We've got June 14th, Xavier Rudd with Bobby Alou. June 21st with Donna the Buffalo. July 7th with Umbries McGee. And July 19th with the infamous String Dusters. I know I say that I'd like to be at all these shows, but I think in this case, this is true. I really will be at all those shows. I'd like to thank you personally for bringing all those bands in. Your impact has definitely been felt since you helped start booking shows there. So thank you. Anything from any of those shows that sticks out with you that you'd like to share with us before we get into our questions?
Oh, it's just really exciting to be working in a venue that I guess fits that many people in there, because it's a whole different landscape of bands, and it's just a different experience than the club scene that I'm so used to, or the festival scene that I'm so used to. And it's just been really fascinating to me to just like kind of dive right into it and learn about how people at that caliber communicate and how things get done, how to be efficient. Yeah. And also looking what's happening around the area, what makes sense to book and when. And then also just further developing my relationships with different agents and managers and artists, and just keeping that going. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's awesome. And what is you talk about the capacity difference there. What is the capacity at Lincoln Hill Farms at the outdoor venue?
Sure. So last year it was 1,500. This year it'll be 2,000. And we will be debuting a new stage. And I won't tell you how many people will be fitting there, but it's going to be way bigger than the current stage.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so we're excited to start bringing in all sorts of acts,
Yeah, that's awesome. And did you have to expand the grounds anymore to accommodate more people, or was the layout pretty much all set?
Yes and no. There was, I think, 1,800 dump trucks involved for this new one.
Okay, wow.
Which is happening as we speak.
Okay.
Nice.
I thought it was 1,800 different dump trucks, but
Yeah.
it was 1,800 loads of dump trucks.
Okay.
So it was like the same 20 or whatever.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And what's the capacity at, like, say, Deep Dive is for comparison?
Our fire capacity here is 191.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
191.
So-
Very precise.
Yeah, so it's definitely a bigger difference
Yeah.
in
Interesting.
terms of scale. So I think it's great that you've been booking shows there. It's so great that you're able to bring in bigger acts to such a close drive to Ithaca. So, all right, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive into these questions.
Certainly, huh?
Sean, you are up first.
All right, TJ, you started your musical journey with a high school ska band and furthered your education at Ithaca College. Can you discuss how these early beginnings in music and your time at college shaped your career choices and what influenced your decision from teaching to pursuing music full-time?
Sure.
That was a multi-layered question there, but...
Yeah. Well, I'll just kind of give you the timeline of what happened.
Sure.
So I was in 8th grade or 7th grade. I started playing the trombone because I was super lanky, still am. Trombone would be good for you. And I went to high school, and these upperclassmen, they're like, we need you to be in our band. And like, you ever hear ska? I was like, no.
Right.
And I was like, wow, there's trombone in this music that I like. And so it took a lot to convince my parents to drop me off at this senior in high school who drove house.
Yeah.
And they actually duct taped me to a tree at the first rehearsal. But
Yeah.
Is it like an initiation? Or?
yeah, pretty much.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They had me gigging at a young age and playing, at different clubs and makeshift venues and basements all over the Northeast throughout my high school years, and that made me take the trombone pretty seriously. And then when it came time to decide what I wanted to do, I decided I wanted to become a music teacher. And so then I applied to my dream school, which was Ithaca College, and somehow I got in. And then I came here.
Nice.
And then I just kept playing with the bands, and I was like even cutting class and just playing with bands. I'd be on this stage a lot where we currently are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Castaways and then the Dock. And then I graduated from Ithaca College and moved to Queens, where I was a high school teacher on Long Island. I was teaching concert band, jazz band, music theory, etc. And I attempted a first master's in classical trombone, Purchase College.
Okay.
But I would still come up here on Wednesday nights to play with Reggae Night.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of that, long story short, John Burns Body got in touch with me. Do you want to audition for the band? And then same message, basically. Jay Schaper, Double Tiger, was like, you want to come to France with me? And so
Wow.
then I went into my boss's office and quit.
Right.
Like, why are you quitting? I was like, I'm joining a reggae band.
That is amazing.
He's like,
And what year was that?
That was in 2014 or 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you live before you came to Ithaca to go to the college?
I'm from Long Island.
From Long Island. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. So
Nice.
All right. So, as a talent buyer for multiple venues in Ithaca and Canandaigua, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in this role? And the other part of this question is, how do you determine what acts to bring to the venue?
it's really tough. Ultimately, it's trying to make as many people happy and healthy and feel part of something as possible. But at the same time, businesses need to sustain themselves because they're important, not just for giving people jobs and not just for giving the city and county, state taxes, but also just for the health of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And giving people things to do that are beneficial to one's health.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the challenges is dealing, because one of the things I think people take for granted is how fruitful this place is where we live when it comes to creativity,
Yeah.
specifically music.
Absolutely.
There are
100%.
so many bands. There's so many bands starting. There's so many people want to play. And it's that's one of the toughest things, is navigating that and trying to hold space for everybody and give people opportunity and set them up for success. That has been incredibly tough, and it weighs on me a lot. And being in this position of booking a lot of the rooms around here, I'm just trying to do my best by everyone.
Yeah.
But
And so as part of that, someone comes and says, hey, I want to play deep dive. And you have to figure out the economics of that and figure out if it's a fit for everybody, including your workers that are working here, ticket sales, other things you might be able to do on a specific night. Is that where the challenge is in trying to figure out which room to put them in?
Yes, and also it's one of the challenges is had to humbly and gracefully come across when it comes to the educational component of what goes into being able to have this stage be here.
Yeah.
And working out deals with bands, and now I have this perspective that I didn't have as an artist. Like what it literally costs on all sort of emotional, financial levels.
Yeah.
To be open.
Right.
And the deals with the bands and staff and all the different things need to work.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why the music business is so tough, and there's a reason why, many different reasons why, like this place has been named like 10 different things.
Sure.
Yeah, it's tough to keep going year after year. And
Yeah. So when people come up and they want to play a show here based on what that act is or who that is, or basically, there's like all these formulas that you try to, make sense of, and usually takes 3 times to even learn a little bit about it.
right.
But it just needs to work for the ecosystem as a whole. And that's one of the things that's tough, because I know people get frustrated. I get frustrated. But we have to be wise with their decisions.
So this question is something I'm really curious about, because I have a professional relationship with you, but how do you juggle multiple roles in the music industry, from performing as a trombonist to managing music venues and buying talent? How do you manage all these diverse responsibilities without compromising quality?
I barely am.
I think you're doing a pretty good job, man.
I mean, you were just on tour with John Brown's Body recently. You were out
Yeah.
of town for that, trying to still run businesses back in town. It's got to be challenging.
Yeah, I think I thrive in the 9 to 5 that I used to do.
Okay.
But this is a new exciting challenge where, like, I keep telling people, like, the name of the day has nothing to do with how that day goes anymore.
Right, yeah.
So trying to stay happy and healthy and sleep, but also I have to, what's the word? I have to have a drive when I wake up to get stuff done, because I'm the only person I'm answering to, which is a blessing and a curse, is myself right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I have a hard time shutting off.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, especially when in the small town, if I go out and hang out, of course I want to talk about all the things I'm excited about.
Yeah.
But it's hard to walk away from. I kind of have to leave town.
Yeah.
Do you have like a set day, or like time of the day, or just like I'm off limits from everyone, just to like
I'm trying to
recharge?
figure that out.
Yeah.
I've tried the day, I've tried the time, I think I'm still pretty fresh into it. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out.
It's I'm sure it's really tough getting texts and emails at all times of day and night. People are on all different kind of schedules.
Oh, especially like I deal with people in Australia a lot.
Okay, yeah.
And on the West Coast and in Europe.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Another caveat to the whole.
It's just my phone's always
balancing
like-
act.
Yeah, yeah, man. Now that you mention that, I cannot imagine. Well, you don't look any worse for the wear for it, so it seems like you're handling it really well. It doesn't sound like you sleep much.
the gray hair is hiding under my hat. Yeah.
All right, so I was doing my research, and I figured out. I learned that you pursued a master's degree in arts presenting and live entertainment management. How has this academic background impacted your approach to managing music venues and festivals?
That, I think, is the reason why I went into it. I was looking to, because in New York State, to keep your teaching certification, you have to get a master's within a certain amount of time.
Okay.
And like I said, I had attempted a master's that I quit to join a reggae band. And
Boss move.
So I had to figure out a program that worked for my touring schedule. And my brother was going to University of Miami at the time. He's like, there's this new program. It seems right up your alley. And so I started. It was like 1 or 2 classes at a time. Every 7 weeks I would change. It was an 18-month program. And all the classes were so interesting to me. It was funny because there was a tour management class. And I was on tour with John Brown's Body. And Kenny Christensen signed off on some stuff for me because he was a tour manager.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then I had this project that was basically create a music festival. And then
Is that where the Finger Lakes Thaw came out of?
yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And so then that's where that came out of.
Okay. Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar, Finger Lakes Thaw was a festival that happened for a couple of years, I believe. I came to the second one, I think, which was in 2018. Is that just December or
Something like
2017,
that.
something around there? And that was a really cool experience for me because I was living in Buffalo at the time. And you guys were basically doing a kind of South by Southwest style thing where you had a whole bunch of different venues.
Yeah, it was based on the New York City Winter Jazz Fest. But yeah, it's very South by Southwest.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, COVID was its demise.
Okay, yeah, which is too bad. I remember I saw a bunch of great bands and I was coming in from out of town, and it was just so cool that you guys had that here. I ended up moving to Ithaca in 2018, and that was another one of those kind of events that really drew me to the area, in addition to Grassroots and Reggae Fest, just the music scene here. So really awesome that you guys were able to pull that together.
Nice. Returning to your tour with John Brown's Body after a hiatus must have been exciting. Can you share some highlights from the tour and what was it like to reunite with original lead singer Kevin Kinsella?
It was really awesome, and what's cool about that band is like if you look at the Wikipedia page, I think there's like 38 names of people that have been in that band.
Yeah, yeah. I know you look at the former members, and it's a long list.
Yeah,
yeah.
And these people, before I even was involved with JBB, were some of my idols, still are. And now with this new iteration, I've never played in this lineup before, and now have they, because we're all from different eras.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
There's been overlap, I think, with all of us in some fashion.
Right.
But it was really cool to just like dive right in and play, with them. And, it was like one of the toughest, in a good way, bands.
Yeah.
The sound was just so tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you guys did a couple of shows in the past couple of weeks. Can you tell us a little bit about those shows?
Sure. So the first show we did was in Carabasset Valley at Sugarloaf Mountain.
Okay.
Nice.
They had a reggae fest, so we played that. That was a lot of fun. We played a really late night set, and then the next day we played the Cabot Theater, which is just north of Boston by Salem and Beverly.
Okay, it looked like a beautiful room from the pictures I saw.
Yeah, and I never played a room like that with JBB. And I got to see Easy Star All Stars for the first time, and that is one of my favorite musical experiences since I was in high school, was listening to them.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
had never seen them before.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that looked like a great lineup. Good stuff. All right, so you've toured internationally, and performing for large crowds must have offered a unique experience and lessons. What are some key takeaways from your time on the road through all these years that have influenced your work as both a venue manager and a talent buyer?
Well, when I started doing that master's online while being on tour, it really made me kind of sit back and watch the logistics of what was happening. I had done this tour, a band called Dispatch, where they had semi-trucks in addition to the buses, and I remember on the side of the bus it said, "They rock, we roll."
Yeah.
And it was just like watching all those things and watching how they would load stuff and see, you go to a different venue and you see all these new people working behind the scenes and trying to figure out without asking, like, what is that person doing here right now?
Yeah.
Are they the promoter? Are they production manager? Are they
the owner of the venue?
Yeah, you really don't know.
Right.
Everybody's unassuming. So that is what I'm the most grateful for, but also having the artist's perspective, I think has been like super valuable, because I can relate to, when there's a touring band and they're getting out a 15-passenger van, I know how they're probably feeling.
Yeah.
They had to get here for 1 p.m. load-in when they had a show in Brooklyn until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Then they had to drive up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that feeling is like all too well.
And that's got to be great for them, because you have the patience probably in their presence of mind to handle maybe their exasperation or whatever they're going through. That's a really unique opportunity that you have there to relate.
Try not to commiserate with them. I kind of just try to be chameleon style.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll know each other or whatever, but just trying to be as hospitable as possible, and just, you can kind of see things a mile away when you have that experience of dealing with some artists on certain levels.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Feedback. TJ, what advice would you give to young musicians and aspiring music promoters who look to carve out a career similar to yours?
don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I think the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is one of the things I'm most passionate about, and that's community. And Greg Evans, who is the big band here, he always says community is a verb. It's not something that you're a part of. It is something you do.
Right.
And I think as long as you do that, it's 80% hang, 20% ability, kind of. But I think if you want to be involved in a scene, you have to actually be involved.
Right.
And not be involved because you want to be involved. Be involved because it's important to be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good answer.
All right. So of all the hats that you wear in the music industry, and this is probably a tough question, which role brings you the most satisfaction and why? When are you in your element?
10 a.m. second cup of coffee behind my computer, home alone.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Very specific.
Good to know. Well, I love my coffee too. It's probably the favorite part of my day as well. So I can definitely relate. All right.
All right. So over the years, you've had the opportunity to work with a variety of artists and host numerous events. Could you share one or two particular memorable moments from your career?
So many.
Yeah, there are no wrong answers.
I'll spare you the inappropriate ones. I mean, one of the most amazing things was I had never been there before, but selling out Red Rocks and playing there.
Who was that with?
With Not Going Medicine for the People.
Okay, yeah.
Trevor Hall.
Nice.
And it was a full moon. It was Father's Day.
Very cool.
And like they surprised all their dads by pushing them on stage.
Oh,
wow.
Very cool.
And they had them put their phone lights on to do like the slow side by side.
Yeah.
And I was like laughing so hard because my dad was like shitting his pants with it.
Yeah.
And he's doing like SOS like so quick, back and forth.
Oh man, that's classic. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Red Rocks a couple of weeks ago. I said that was on my bucket list of venues to get to. So very fitting that that's one of your more memorable experiences. Anything else come to mind? Has there been any artists that you've really enjoyed working with, in, as far as like the talent buying process, or?
Every relationship's different.
Yeah.
Sure. A memorable moment though, in Czech Republic, we didn't know what we were playing. We showed up and it'd be this massive festival, and they put us on the stage that The Cure was playing later on that night.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like this 60-foot long runway. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to run to the end of that and take my solo. And I ran to the end, dropped on my knees. I felt like a rock star. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But then our manager was there. He's like, hey, that looked great, but your wireless mic cut out. No one heard you.
Oh, no.
And then later that night, I had some magic mushrooms and I broke out in full body hives.
Oh,
Yeah, it was,
wow.
It was a
Did not know about that side effect.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
I'll never forget that day.
Good story.
All right, so only got a couple more questions here for you. With your extensive involvement in various aspects of the music scene, what are some goals or projects that you're particularly excited about pursuing in the near future? Anything on the horizon that you could share with us besides everything you already have on your plate, but anything else coming up?
I mean, there's some stuff I can't talk about, but one of the things that I am looking forward to is just now we're about to hit 2 years of this new of deep dive existing and kind of hitting a rhythm. Nice. So just kind of like chilling out a little bit and not be, in acquisition mode.
Right. Yeah. You've already kind of laid the foundation a little bit. Maybe you can kind of breathe a little bit and go through your routines and your rhythms without trying to establish and build everything.
Yeah. So right now I'm trying to delegate different tasks and get people more involved and more prideful in what we're doing. And then also go back on the road a bit, because I think that's so important. It's like, I think having like a teacher, or growing up, some of the best teachers I ever had were actually like the science teachers that went home and actually did experiments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that that's really important for me to go back on the road and see what's going on and then bring it back here. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. I'm glad to hear that you're catching your breath at least a little bit.
Yeah. Moments like these, totally.
Yeah. Right on.
Nice. Is there anything we haven't covered today that you'd like to talk about? I see a lot of questions, kind of grilled you quite a bit. And
Oh, no, I mean, just keep coming to shows, please. And, I think supporting each other is the most important thing we can do.
Absolutely.
But also hold people accountable, because, don't enable people.
Right. Yeah.
But enable people as long as it's healthy behavior.
Yeah.
But as far we were talking earlier, there's something I can share is we're about to announce tomorrow or the next day. I'm still waiting on one or two things.
Oh, nice.
And I guess we're on a podcast, so I should say what day that is, right?
Yeah, sure. What you got? You got a scoop for us?
What day is tomorrow anyway?
Tomorrow's Thursday,
Tomorrow's
the 25th.
Thursday. When is this coming out?
This will be out on Thursday.
Okay, so maybe by the time this comes out, if not the next day, we'll be announcing at Lincoln Hill Farms. Pretty ridiculous show. Slick Rick, Rakim,
Wow.
Sugar Hill Gang, and Furious 5.
No way.
Sunday, June 9th.
You
Get
heard it
outta
here
here.
first in the Pulse of Ithaca podcast.
That's right. That is epic. That is quite the lineup. Well, congratulations for scoring that lineup.
Thank you.
And that is really awesome. Well, I mean, I would just like to thank you again for coming out today. As I mentioned at the top of the show, you've been one of our biggest supporters, and it's meant a lot to us.
Absolutely.
We haven't really known what we're doing, especially when we first got started. So having somebody like yourself reach out to us and tell us to keep at it has been really awesome.
We got to do a live studio audience for this coming up right here.
Yeah,
I would love to.
Yeah,
That'd be
I would
so
love
much
to.
fun.
We'll have to figure out something, and let's do that.
Like a little game show part of it. The whole thing.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic.
Live applause.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that pretty much wraps up another episode of the Pulse of Ithaca podcast. We realize that everyone out there has a lot of options. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and spending your time with us today. A big shout out to all our listeners in Ithaca and around the world. You make this show possible. I'm your host, Pete, and of course, I've been joined by the ever insightful Sean. TJ, once again, thank you for being with us today. We hope everyone out there enjoyed this episode and look forward to doing it with you again soon. If you loved what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support goes a long way in helping us bring you the latest and greatest from Ithaca every week. If you have an event, story, or local favorite you want us to cover, reach out to us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep your finger on the pulse of Ithaca and make the most of this amazing place we call home. Take care, everyone.